Joining me now for more on both these cases is trial attorney Misty Marris. Also with us is law and crime host Jesse Weber. Great to have you both here. We're going to get to Mangione in a moment, but I got to start with Congressman Santos. He gained infamy for his outlandish lies, but it was his bilking of hundreds of thousands of dollars that landed him in jail.
He not only lied to the FEC to get more money, he not only stole people's credit cards and their identities and used it for personal expenses, he came around, I mean, the idea of him sobbing in court was very interesting because, you know, he says, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. It was like 2 weeks ago, he posted on X, no matter how hard the DOJ comes after me, they're never going to break my spirit. It's hard to believe anything from George Santos at this point.
Yeah, Misty, listen, George Santos was kicked out of Congress when he was caught using campaign funds for things like Botox, designer clothing, and OnlyFans. If I have to explain to our audience what OnlyFans is, I'm not going to do it. I just refuse. Google it, guys in the audience. The judge said incredulously, to Jesse's point, where's the remorse? You've made no effort to repay any of the money that you used illegally.
Right, and they also talked about how much money he made with his Cameo, making videos and selling them. So the judge said, you know, you're just not showing contrition, his online presence, being able to go back to all of those posts, and also pointed out that it's not just an isolated incident. It's like 5 different schemes and dozens of crimes with significant victims. And so, you know, obviously the judge sided with the prosecution here and went with their recommendation.
He used that money, by the way. He earned 300. We're showing video right now of these not OnlyFans. Oh my God!
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness we're not showing the OnlyFans video. We don't know that he did any OnlyFans videos. We know that he made Cameo, which is when you hire somebody to say it's a personalized, you know, happy birthday greeting or something. He made $360,000 because he became such an outlandish figure. And he used that money to drive around town in a Jaguar wearing a Rolex watch.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I think
Where's
it was
the restitution. Right.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was the prosecution or the defense who said, listen, he built up a life that he wanted to live, but wasn't actually who he was. And it's a tragedy. It's actually a really disturbing story about how he actually made it that high through lies. And look at, this is a very, very sad ending for him right now. And the judge said he'll have a future of some kind. He has talent, but my gosh, at least 7 years in prison, maybe less. I mean, at least 2. It's a really sad story.
We'll leave what that talent is for somebody else to define. Quickly, will he serve all 7 years, Misty?
Unlikely. Usually it's about 2/3, so there's always a reduction for good behavior, so it's unlikely to be the 7, but it's still significant.
All right, let's switch to the Luigi Mangione case. Almost $1 million in donations for his legal defense fund, which is pretty unbelievable. He was in federal court today. He pleaded not guilty, but the Attorney General and the Department of Justice announced very late last night, early this morning, that they are seeking the death penalty against him. They say this murder was an act of political violence meant to stoke anger and encourage other people, like maybe to commit violence against healthcare insurance providers.
Look, I understand why they're going forward with it, but I also have to tell you, the defense makes a great argument for why this is not a death penalty case. It's usually you see a death penalty case when there's multiple murders. It's committed as part of a criminal organization. There's already a pending state case. There's an argument that it's arbitrary they're moving forward with the death penalty because there's no death penalty in New York. And so you'll see if whether or not the court is ultimately convinced. But clearly, this is a very disturbing crime. And the response, I think, is what's leading the government to say, we have to make sure there's no more copycats and people are actually motivated by this.
Right. It was interesting. Luigi Mangione's own defense lawyers said to the judge, Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, and the DOJ, this is all a political stunt, leading the judge to tell the prosecutors, you go back and tell Pam Bondi to stop talking about this case.
Right. There's a local federal rule in the criminal procedure which says that extrajudicial statements cannot be made by any party if it could impact fairness of the case. And Elizabeth, to Jesse's point, some of those statements made by Pam Bondi before the government filed a notice of intention to seek the death penalty, she said on television that it was in furtherance of Trump's agenda to be tough on crime. That's giving the defense the argument that it's politically motivated and doesn't fit into the aggravating factors and the process which the DOJ typically uses to determine whether or not capital punishment is appropriate in the case. So they have a strong motion. I do think ultimately there's prosecutorial discretion, so likely we'll move forward on that path.
We shall see what happens. We shall see if she continues to comment. All right, Misty, Jesse, have a great weekend.
You
Thanks
too.
so much.
Thanks for having us.